make that commitment right now to guarantee paid sick days to all of your workers? That's not a radical demand. It really is not.
Senator, I share your focus on our employees.
Are you on? Which side are you on?
There was a hearing on the East Palestine derailment that I would encourage folks to watch. And we pulled Bernie's interactions with the Norfolk Southern CEO, and we're going to be reacting to it. But it's worth noting that 30 minutes before this started, a train derailed in Alabama. So, and Infinite Content, I saw your text that you sent to us this morning about that, and it's, I mean, this really shows how poorly they have set these titans of industry have set up this system, how illogically and irrationally they have organized production. 30 minutes before a massive event for the company, a train in Alabama derails. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Luckily, there weren't any chemicals on board this train. But this is something that happens 3 times a day. Over 1,000 times a year, trains derail in this country. And obviously, this is due to the workforce cuts, the precision scheduled railroading, the refusal to upgrade braking technology. All of these corporate tactics to increase profits at the cost of everything else. So let's listen to this exchange between Bernie and Alan Shaw, the Norfolk Southern CEO.
Mr. Shaw, you indicated in response to a question from the chairman that you, quote, "I'm committed to doing what's right," end quote. Well, I think all of us are committed to doing what's right, but the devil is in the details. Mr. Shaw, Wall Street, about a decade ago, in order to increase the profits they were earning in the rail industry, implemented a program called precision scheduled railroading. The result of that is that Norfolk Southern reduced its workforce by almost 40% over 6 years. Meanwhile, in fact, Wall Street's goal was achieved. Profits soared for Norfolk Southern. You made over $3 billion in profits last year. I have been told by workers who work for your company and other rail companies that they are now being asked to do more work with fewer workers, and that includes safety inspections. Will you make a commitment right now to the American people that you will lead the industry in ending this disastrous precision scheduled railroading, which has slashed your workforce and made railroading much less safe? Yes or no, will you make that commitment?
Senator, I understand your concern, and I share that concern. And if you'll permit, I have a couple points on that. I became CEO.
You know, they sure struggle with yes or no questions. Anyway.
Yeah.
In May of last year. Ever since that point, Senator, we've been on a hiring spree. The number of employees at Norfolk Southern today is 1,500 more than it was this time last year.
All right, you'll forgive me. I don't mean to be rude. We just don't have a whole lot of time. Yeah, I understand that, but you will not deny what you're trying to do is rebuild from the massive layoffs that took place. My question back to you again. Wall Street, not the industry, imposed this on the industry. Wall Street said we're not making enough money. Cut workers, cut workers, cut workers, even if it endangers safety. My question to you, very simply, sir, will you lead the industry in doing away with precision scheduled railroading? That concept.
Senator, in December of last year, I charted a new course in the industry. I said we're going to move away from a near-term focus solely on profits, and that we're going to take a longer-term view. that's founded on our engagement with our craft employees who are so critical to our success. We were the first to pivot out of it.
They're so critical. They're so critical.
But they don't deserve sick days.
All right, well, let me jump in again. I apologize for cutting you off here, but when you talk about your employees, the entire country, I think, was shocked to learn a number of months ago that your employees, rail workers, who work in a dangerous job in all kinds of weather, had zero paid sick days. Now, I know that is beginning to change, but I would ask you, given the fact that Norfolk Southern provided $10 billion in stock buybacks recently, can you tell the American people and your employees right now that in order to improve morale in your workforce, that you will guarantee at least 7 paid sick days to the 15,000 workers you employ? I do know you've made some progress. You increased paid sick days for some of your workers. Will you do what most Americans think is pretty obvious, that when you get sick, you get guaranteed paid sick days? Will you make that commitment right now to your entire workforce?
Senator, with our latest agreement with our employees, which included a historic 24% wage increase and access to premium health care benefits, we immediately pivoted to talking to each of our local...
I've been deeply involved. I introduced the amendment on the floor. I know the issue. But what I'm asking you right now, you provided paid sick days to some of your employees. I got it. Thank you. Will you now do it what we get here in Congress? Our employees get sick, they get paid sick days. Will you make that commitment right now to guarantee paid sick days to all of your workers? That's not a radical demand. It really is not. Will you make that commitment, sir?
Senator, I share your focus on our employees. I will commit to continuing to discuss with them important quality of life issues with our local craft colleagues.
In all due respect, you sound like a politician here, Mr. Shaw. It's not paid sick days is not a radical concept in the year 2023. I am not hearing you make that commitment to guarantee that to all of your workers. Clearly, we should have that for every worker in America. I'm not hearing that commitment. Will you make that commitment, sir?
Senator, I'm committed to continuing to speak to our employees about quality of life issues that are important to them.
All right. Well, I'm chairman of the Health, Education, Labor Committee. We look forward to having that discussion. One last issue. You talked about covering...
Senator Graham, Senator Graham is waiting to ask it, so Bernie, if you just keep it really brief.
All right, last question. You talked about covering the needs of the people of East Palestine. Does that include paying for their health care needs? All of their health care needs?
Senator, we're going to do what's right for the citizens of East
What's
Palestine.
right is to cover their health care needs. Will you do that?
Everything is on the table, sir.
Thank you.
That's, I mean, Bernie is great in these, and obviously CEOs are terrible.
Yeah, he could not answer a question to save his life.
He didn't answer straightforwardly any question that Bernie asked him. There wasn't a single time that he answered a question in that exchange. That 5 minutes.
Right. I'm committed to talking
discussing
about quality of life issues.
What a snake, dude. What
Yeah,
a snake.
seriously. So yeah, I think it's good to see that kind of like interrogation at the highest level. Whether or not there's going to be, some real accountability to follow this, I don't know. A couple of things I wanted to mention on this is that the NTSB has opened a special investigation into Norfolk Southern's railway safety practices and culture, and that could be a big deal. I got that from RWU, the Rail Workers United, and according to them, they said it's apparently unheard of for the National Transportation Safety Board to do an all-out investigation into the inner workings of a corporation like this.
Yeah.
You know, they may do it for a specific wreck, a specific incident, but this seems to be a broader investigation of Norfolk Southern, you know, top to bottom. So there's some potential there to really, you know, dig in and find some facts and figure out what's really going on there, you know. But as with all these things, it's one thing to investigate. It's another thing to, you know, to prosecute or to actually act on the information you find out, because we already know enough to know there's some problems, and there are regulations that could be enacted without Congress that could be done. There are things that Congress needs to do, but wanted to pass that on and also mention, also from RWU, they passed a resolution recently in support of safe train length and braking. So they are really, if you're at all interested in the rail issue, follow RWU. And, you know, you can sign up for their email newsletter. It's very easy. They'll get you plugged in, and, you know, I'm sure they'll appreciate, you know, your support. But also it's good to stay posted and see kind of what's going on. And they are really in the forefront of calling for a safer rail system, a rail system that actually does right by the workers involved, and a rail system that is, you know, positive for our communities, not negative, not toxic, not destructive, but, you know, could actually be beneficial. So if Norfolk Southern CEO, he says he wants to do the right thing and everything's on the table, well, do what RWU is asking you to do.
Yeah.
It's that freaking easy.
And, you know, while Bernie is asking, you know, real questions about the, you know, the health and safety and the assurance that that is made provision for the workers and for the community, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance mentioned in his opening statement, and I didn't pull this clip, but he said that this community was a little too white to get help. And just the idea, and, you know, so.
Wow.
It's.
You know, just so divisive to even put that out there. And also, has he heard of Jackson, Mississippi?
Yeah, right. Or
Flint, Michigan?
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's just, yeah.
There are people right now in Jackson, Mississippi are having their rights deprived. They can't count on clean water supply. You know, the state legislature and the governor there is doing everything they can to strip power from their elected officials, because, by God, they're not going to let black voters have some say over their own lives and community.
Yeah.
So we definitely just came across a story a good interview recently regarding what's going on in Jackson. That's something we may need to cover here in the next couple of weeks, because it's very relevant. Also echoes sort of what we've seen with Birmingham and the way in which Alabama state legislature has, you know, tried to take power away from the local level. Anytime cities and local governments are, you know, starting to elect progressives, starting to take progressive measures, the reactionary state government, whether it's Mississippi or Alabama, steps in to try to stop the progress.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.